Hello, everybody, and welcome to our daily check-in. Um, Hopefully, you're having a delightful day and you had a nice weekend. Today is Monday. Mondays can always be tough. Um, it's getting near the end of the year. This last week will probably be kind of special because it's your last week of school. So, this week I was really struggling. What do I want to talk about? What do I want to talk about? I've talked about books, I've talked about movies, I've talked about quotes, I've talked about all kinds of things. So, the question is, what do I want to talk about today? So I was sitting on my couch, just taking a mental break, I guess, and I happened to see this controller. So this is a PlayStation controller. So I thought today I would talk about video games, but not maybe how you would think. So I remember when I was way back in the day, my parents had bought us an Atari, and like Atari is like you're talking like the one controller and one button. That was it. It was all the games like were like boxed. There was no round anything in it. So I remember playing that game and thinking it was like the coolest thing ever, right? And then Nintendo, a little bit down the line, came. I mean, let's not even talk about these horrible computer games we had with like the floppy disk, which you probably don't even know what I'm talking about. But when Nintendo came, I remember playing Nintendo, and certain games I thought were really hard, right? So I would have to practice and practice and practice and practice, whether it was like Super Mario Brother or, like Mike Tyson Punch Out or some of the games, the classic games, Tecmo Bowl, love that game. But I remember playing all those games and thinking when I first started playing it, they were hard, right? But I kept practicing and practicing. And I got better at it. And then when I got better at it, a new system would come out, right? So then you flash forward, and now there's things like PlayStation and Nintendo DS and Xbox, etc. Which I had a PlayStation, the original one, and then the Xbox original, and then pretty much I tapped myself out at the Nintendo DS. So yeah, Nintendo DS, I guess, and PlayStation 3. But here's what I guess the message I want to try to give. So when I played Nintendo, it took me a long time to learn how to be really good at some of those games. And then a new version or a new type of system came out. It was new, it was more technologically advanced, it had better graphics, right? It was a little more challenging. And then you'd buy it and then you would try to get good at that. And you'd practice and you'd practice and practice, and then a new one would come out, right? So what's the message? The message is just like in video games, kind of connected to life, right? So you experience things. And sometimes in the beginning, it's challenging. You're feeling like, I can't do it. It's really hard. You lose attention of it and you just want to move on to something else. But it's the perseverance factor. It's being able to overcome a challenge. So you keep practicing and getting better. You might look online for some tips on how to do it. You might ask friends, how'd you get past this part? How do you throw the football? How do you do that? And people give you advice. Try this, try that. And all of a sudden you get really good at it. And then when you get really good at it, a new version comes out, right? And that's kind of like how life is. However, I went from an Atari, right, to like Nintendo and Sega, and then I had like the original PlayStation, and then an Xbox actually, and the original Xbox, which I still actually have, and then Nintendo Wii, and all these different things that keep getting better and better. And you have to learn to adapt, right? So you can't just be stuck in the past and say, well, that's the best I could do. I only know how to do that. I'll never get good at this new stuff, so I give up. And that's kind of like how life is. You feel like you go through experiences in your life where they're challenging and you feel like you just want to give up. I can't do it. But you can. You just have to persevere. You have to seek advice and you have to ask for help, right? Because then people will help guide you. Your school counselors, your teachers, your parents, your friends. Everyone around you is there to guide you through life. Because the one thing that I want you to get from anything that I teach you, each person brings something different for you, right? And I'm not saying you should go to people just because you want things. I'm talking about your peers know what it's like to be your age. So advice that they give you and things that they've been dealing with are relatable to you because you're that age, right? Your parents giving you advice, it's because they've experienced things in life that might be similar to what you have been experiencing, and they're trying to maybe help you overcome things that maybe were challenges for them, and they know if you do it the exact same way, you're going to be in the same boat as them, but they don't want that for you, so they give you advice on how to not do those things. Your school counselors, just like your teachers, have had so many experiences with people of your age that they can see like common trends. So we try to help guide you through that part of your life. And then as you move on in life, you'll meet new people that will help guide you, colleagues, like you get your first job, right? People are like, well, this is how the company works best, or this is how the school is run. They give you tips on how to fit in as far as how to be successful, right? So that's what we want from everybody, to be successful, mentally, physically. We want people to feel good about themselves, but we also want them to work hard, be caring of others, and all these people around you. So, like, just like in video games, things adapt, things change. I mean, just imagine when you started 2019, you thought just going to middle school was going to be tough. And then all of a sudden they're like, by the way, you're going to spend the last 2 to 3 months at home learning from a computer, which obviously is a challenge, right? So, but you adapted. In the beginning, some of you it was really tough, but then you've learned to adjust. Now, I will say some of you, might have struggled a little bit going down the stretch because it was hard. So sometimes you need rejuvenation. You need a time where you can kind of give yourself an opportunity to kind of relax, but also come back stronger than ever. So I want you to understand that if you like video games, okay, life is like a video game, right? You need to learn to adapt because they're always going to make changes. They're always going to improve. They're always going to make things more advanced. And you have to have an open mind so that way you can do that. So like over the summer, you'll get a chance to regroup. And then you come back to seventh grade, it's a totally different grade, different teachers, different everything. So it's like you are already experienced adapting. You went from, like, say, kindergarten to first to second to third to fourth to fifth. Then you went from one school to the middle school, and then you went from the middle school to virtual learning. And then you're going to be going to a different grade. So I have faith that you can do it. You just have to be willing to put in the effort to say, what do you need to be successful in seventh grade? Should I ask my teacher questions if I don't understand? Yes. Should I reach out to the school counselor if I'm feeling stressed? Yes. Should I reach out to my friends to figure out what they're doing? Yes. Can I reach out to my old gray-haired social studies teacher? Yes, you can. So I just want you to think about that. So this constant changing. So what can you do to help keep the consistency? Well, one, you have your family. You're going to see them every day. Okay, they're there for you. That's your constant factor. For me, besides my family, you have your friends, which you do too, but I have music. Music is my consistent factor. There's certain groups I like. Like, for example, I like the Beatles. Actually, I love the Beatles, and I listen to them all the time. I know that if I need certain consistent things of moods that I'm feeling, I know exactly what groups I want to listen to, and I know what songs I want to listen to generally, because I know those are the songs that are going to make me feel good through specific times, right? So the reason why I'm telling you that is you should find something that you can rely on that is consistent. Most likely it's your family. But in addition to your family, you might have other things, like maybe books you like to read, quotes you like to look at, pictures you like to do, like maybe you like to paint, that's your consistency. Maybe it's dancing, maybe it's listening to music. So you want to keep that something solid to keep you grounded, because life is constantly going to change on you. It's constantly you're going to have to adapt. Okay, so that's kind of one thing that we haven't talked too much about this year, but just imagine when you're playing this game, this video game called life, okay? There are going to be people that are going to try to teach you shortcuts and cheats, okay? But that's not really how you should do things, because you don't have the same satisfaction of playing a game. If you know all the cheat codes and you don't have to experience any of the challenge, that's not even playing, right? So you don't want all the cheat codes in life. You want to be able to overcome challenges, because if you always go by the cheat codes of life, when a real problem arises, you're not going to know how to deal with it, because you will not have the experience or the knowledge, I should say, to overcome those challenges. So that's why persevering, making mistakes and overcoming those mistakes, that's all part of life, right? So I guess my final thing for you today is, even though life is going to change on you, always be willing to adapt. always be open-minded, okay? And be willing to seek out help whenever needed for whatever reason, because there are people who have probably experienced what you are experiencing and they can give you their input. It doesn't mean you have to accept everybody's advice that they're giving you, right? It just means you should be willing to listen. Being able to listen is a very powerful tool. And like I've said in the past, listening should not be waiting for the other person's lips to stop moving so you can speak. It should be really and truly listening, because sometimes when you focus and you listen to what somebody's saying, you get the true meaning of what they're trying to say, and that's a life lesson you've learned. Okay? So, that's all I got for you today. Until our next check-in video, if you play video games, keep on playing, but make sure that you get outside and get some fresh air too, because the games will always be there. But this beautiful sunny weather, it'll be fall soon enough and then it'll be cold. So let's just enjoy this beautiful weather. And until our next check-in, peace out, people. And I miss you guys, and I look forward to seeing you hopefully very soon. Bye.